Carson, California, October 2001. Final construction on one of the world's biggest wastewater facilities called for a concrete roof to be poured over the top of a gigantic storage tank. Dozens of workers swarmed over a massive interlocking grid of steel rebar. Suddenly, the entire roof caved in.
We have a total of about 50 firefighters on the scene right now, including our urban search and rescue teams. We have shards of rebar sticking out freely. It's quite a mess.
After 12 workers had been lifted to safety, one man remained at the bottom. Father of two, 30-year-old Sergio Ruiz. When the heavy roof of interwoven rebar gave way, Sergio, along with tons of steel and wet cement, fell 50 feet to the bottom of the giant tank. He landed on a piece of 1-inch diameter ribbed steel rebar. The rebar entered his left thigh, shattering his femur, then drove through his buttock and out the small of his back. Sergio then smashed his head and was buried in the falling debris. Rescue workers carefully picked their way down through the maze of twisted metal, following Sergio's shouts of pain.
I could see his back, and I could see the rebar going through him, and he was moaning. He was in a lot of pain. He was trapped. He was like in a cage, over a cage, over a cage, over a cage, over a cage. So I figured we're going to have to do a lot of cutting before we can even pull him out. And finally we got to him. He was in agony. He was screaming really loud. We tried cutting the rebar.
We don't pull the rebar out of someone. We cut it and leave it in place so it can be removed surgically.
After they finally found him, it took over an hour to free Sergio from this deadly web of metal, with the freshly cut rebar protruding from his back.
He was really fortunate in that it did not penetrate any organs like his intestines, his liver, his spleen, his bladder. So it just went through the muscle.
Doctors removed the rebar and set to work repairing Sergio's multiple injuries.
Fracture of his left femur, a dislocation of his right hip, multiple facial fractures and lacerations, and a severe concussion.
Titanium rods and screws were used to stabilize his femur, and a metal plate was put into his head to unite his badly fractured skull. By the time he was completely rebuilt, his friends and family began calling him RoboCop.
We're gonna do some work today.
Dr. Adams and his staff at Long Beach Memorial's rehab facility knew that they would have to work Sergio hard if he was to come back from this devastating accident. And work him hard they did.
I just had this feeling about him that he was very motivated.
You okay?
In my mind, I make a promise to myself. I will do my best to start walking again. So I don't wanna be walking with a cane or in a wheelchair or something when my kids are only 5 and 7 years old. I don't wanna do that, you know.
Sergio's intensive rehab went on for 3 years. And many days were punctuated by Sergio's incredible frustration when he just wanted to quit. But over time, his condition improved, step by painful step.
And then actually, when he left the hospital, he was able to walk without any type of devices.
6 years after the accident, Sergio sits down with his family to watch the video of his miraculous rescue.
I don't feel nothing. Probably all my body was numb. When I was on the ground, I was thinking, my wife, my kids. I don't want to leave them alone. And that's when I asked God, you know, please, don't let me die.
Today, after years of grueling rehab, Sergio is enjoying life again.
I don't know what God got for me. But I'm very thankful for giving me a chance to see my kids grow up.